This is Danny Flexon here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by Freeway Rick Ross and Rick Glaser. Too many Ricks spoil the broth. Let's hope not, for the sake of this chat. Rick Ross, let's start with you. You've decided to invest in boxing, set up an advisory company for prospects, plus Anthony Peterson, who will be well known to most boxing fans. Not to beat around the bush, you've had rather a checkered history, it's fair to say, but you're now on a mission to give back to society. Why is boxing the right vehicle with which to do that?
Well, I think boxers play a big part in society. When you look back in the history of boxing, guys like Muhammad Ali, what influence he had on not only the Black community, but the whole world. And when you find somebody that has that kind of influence, they could do so much good for society.
And Rick Glaser this time, maybe we should do Rick G and Rick R, double R. But yeah,
let's call him Freeway and me Rick. How's that?
All right. So Rick, what attracted you to working with Freeway? You've obviously got decades of experience in boxing. What did you see in Freeway?
Well, when we sat down for our initial meetings, we shared every philosophy on life, boxing, people, society, everything. We just hit it off immediately, and we thought we think alike. It was amazing. It was like I was talking to my double almost, and we're 2 years apart in age. I'm 2 years older than Freeway. Just a little bit of everything. His life experience, mine. I was a street guy myself, a little different, both of us just had so much in common, and we both respect fighters a lot. I said something to Freeway, and he said, and he actually felt the same way, but didn't express it to me first. I did first, and he felt the same way. And fighters are called bums. Some fighters are called bums when they're not good fighters. Okay. To me, that's not a bum. Okay. A bum is a person, a boxer who doesn't prepare 100%. Okay. And give 100% of himself to be able to win a fight. To me, a bum is bad integrity, not ability. I know fighters that are, 8 and 12, 8 and 18. I wouldn't call bums because they give 100% of themselves. So we felt, Rick and I felt, Freeway and I felt the exact same way about that. I mean, like everything, but that was one thing about boxing. Also, the fighters weren't treated properly. A little bit of everything, managers taking too much of a percentage, just everything. We just thought alike, and we clicked immediately. We've never had a coarse word between us. He's never got mad at me for any reason. I haven't got mad. Now we've only been associating, working together since late October, but all the earmarks are there for a great business relationship and a great friendship. He's a great guy, and it's a funny thing about that business he was in. You'd think that, he'd be some boisterous, guy, big bull, boisterous guy with, all kinds of jewelry dripping all over him and diamonds. And he's completely opposite. He's very, very polished. He speaks extremely well. He doesn't swear. He's a vegan, lives a very, very good lifestyle. He's a vegan, just everything about him. I was very impressed, and I continue to be. And the more I interact with him every day, I feel the same way.
Now, Freeway, Rick alluded there to your previous business, or even your previous life, you might call it now. But
that was years ago, 40 years almost now.
But are there any lessons from that lifestyle that you can translate into boxing, particularly in terms of marketing and selling a product?
Oh my God, is it? The one thing that I feel I did wrong in life was I sold drugs. Had I not put drugs in my game plan, I probably would be one of the richest people in the world right now. Because the way I sold drugs is I didn't care who it was. They could be strung out on drugs, but I still felt that they should be treated as if they was the most important person in the whole world. And I believe that every single person should be treated like that. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you do until you prove to me that you don't deserve that kind of respect. And when I meet people, I treat everybody as if they're the most important person in the world. And I find out that people absolutely adore that mentality, and they can't do without it. Once you meet them and you start giving them that type of affection, it's hard for them to get it anywhere else. And I noticed those qualities in Rick Glaser after sitting down with him for like 5 minutes, that he was the kind of person that he cared less about your status and more about your integrity.
As Rick alluded to, you're very articulate, you're very polished. What attracted you to... Go ahead.
I went to prison. I was totally illiterate.
Yes, I read that.
And
ironically.
I read over 300 books before I left prison. I read the Wall Street Journal every day. I read the LA Times every day. And when I could get my hands on the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, I read those. So even though if you went to my records and you check my high school records, they probably would show you somebody that was a dodo bird. But I'm totally the opposite now.
Were you completely self-taught in prison to read, or did you have people helping you, other inmates or staff?
Other inmates helped me.
And
I took a GED class as well, so you could say a couple teachers helped as well.
I read in the press release about the formation of your new company that you particularly want to look after fighters who are looking for a second chance, who haven't always been treated well by managers or promoters in the past. Why is that?
Well, somebody, if you get a blue chip guy, somebody who's done everything and they don't really need any help. Everybody's going to be chasing them. It's like the pretty girl. Everybody wants the pretty girl, but it's the ugly duckling that you have to take and get her a makeover. And I want to take some of these guys who I feel need a makeover. And one of the things that Rick has taught me is that sometimes these guys just didn't have anybody to show them how to put their all into it. And that's what we want to do, is we want to be the guy who helps them find their best themselves.
And Rick, tell us how you guys went about picking the initial 5 fighters you're going to be working with.
Well, how did we go about it? Well, we went for some blue chip prospects. There's one 6 fighter that's not on that list that Freeway has since before he formed the team Freeway boxing. So we didn't include him on the list because it's a technicality, and the kid's father, quote, trainer / manager, Rick's involved with him. He was getting a little prickly about it. Let's put it that way. So we just left that off. So there's actually 6 fighters total that's under Rick's domain. How did we go about it? Well, we looked at guys that I looked at, that I was thinking about since I met Rick late October, and we singled in on certain guys. One guy was 1-0, and last minute he journeyed all the way to Baltimore or Washington D.C. and he knocked out a local guy 5-0 in the 3rd round. And the guy really impressed me with his gumption, his let's put it this way, his balls. I mean, the guy's on the couch 4 days before a fight. He's 1-0. Fight going to a guy's hometown. He's 5-0. He's a hard punching southpaw, which is very rare, as you well know. I mean, most southpaws are slick boxers. This guy walks at you to take your head off. His name is Vishan, great last name, Champion. Champion. So I asked him jokingly when I first met him over the phone. I said, "What's your middle name? What's your boxing nickname?" He says, "World." So anyway, he was one, and then Freeway just started working with a fellow before he connected up with me. From an 8-0-1 kid from Philadelphia, though he was 7-0, he's now 8-0-1. And we just looked at different guys that we could, fill a role for and help. We're not looking for the guy who's got the promoter, the big time promoter, the big time manager. They don't need us. We're looking for people that have fallen through the cracks that need a push to that next level. And we believe we could help those fighters, and that's what we're looking for.
Freeway, I wanted to ask you, I was obviously reading up on your story earlier in preparation for this. when you first went to jail, it was supposed to be for life. And,
Yes.
you know, you researched your own case, you found an issue with the way it was prosecuted, and it got reduced on appeal to 20 years. Did you ever kind of give up hope? Did you ever feel like this is it? I'm gonna spend the rest of my days incarcerated?
I mean, you have days that you feel like you may never get out, but you always have that hope that something would happen. I mean, as far as the fence falling down and all the guards disappearing, sometimes it's foolish hope. But one of the things that I did is I never stopped preparing myself for that day, because I knew that I couldn't continue that same lifestyle that I had formed before that got me in prison. So I wanted to find something else that would not only match my old business, in sense of the way it operates, but also the kind of money that could be generated from my old business.
And talking of that, you created a business from the ground up, did incredibly well out of it before it all kind of went wrong, if you like. Then you found your own way out of jail by researching the law. You're someone who gets what they want. You're good at reaching objectives. What's the grand plan with boxing? What do you want this venture to achieve?
Well, I want to be the biggest guy in boxing. I want to be the guy who literally dominates boxing for a couple of years. I know everybody get their turn. Don King was there for a while, and De La Hoya had it. Bob Aaron had it. I think Al Heyman is doing pretty good right now. And I think that I want to be the next one up or the one after the next one up. It doesn't matter to me. I just want to win that title.
Are there any of those guys that you just mentioned, or any other promoters that you particularly admire, or that you have looked up to in the past?
I've looked up to all of them, every last one of them. Don King. Matter of fact, one of my favorite books is one of Don King's favorite books. I read about Don King in the magazine. I read about Don King in the magazine, and that's how I found my third favorite book, is from one of his quotes.
And did you say that's your third favorite book?
Yes, I have three favorite books. I also demand all of my fighters must read those three books if they really want to get my full attention. And that's Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, As a Man Think by James Allen, and The Richest Man in Babylon by George Classy. I think with those three books, and if they make those principles their principles the way I've adopted those principles. I read those books over 25 times. And a lot of the reason is because I saw my success in the drug business in those three books. I saw the principles that I use, because when I sold drugs, I got lucky. I got lucky and got rich. I hadn't sit down and made out a plan to become a millionaire. Matter of fact, I never had $1,000 when I first started. So I had no plans on becoming a multimillionaire in the drug business. My goal was to make $5,000, and that was my whole goal.
Wow, that's just impressive stuff. Rick, what would you like to see achieved? Because you've been around a long time. You know that getting to the top as a promoter isn't easy. It's a shark-infested sport, even at the top level.
We're starting out. The company's starting out, Freeway, and the company's starting out as advisors. Will we get into promotion in a couple years, 2 to 3 years? There's a good possibility. But right now, we're looking to advise the fighters and move the fighters in a positive direction, at least get them going where it was worth bringing us on, Rick Freeway and myself, on as the advisors, at least in a better place than they are currently. And if we become promoters, eventually we become promoters, right? That may be a goal 2 or 3 years from now, but that immediately is not a goal. The immediate thing is to get our fighters good work, paid well, get treated with respect and dignity, and grow a company. Okay, we have a good base, 5 fighters plus the one. We're talking to 4 different guys right now as we speak. I can see this thing being 18 to 20 fighters by the end of 2022. So I think that's a good step in the right direction. And we're not going to oversaturate ourselves with like Al Heyman did with 275 fighters, where people are starving and fighting once a year, once every 2 years. We're not going to do that. We're going to have a set group of fighters that are going to be in business and in action, so they're not publicly complaining.
Freeway, the last word goes to you. Just talk directly to fighters out there. What sort of talent are you looking for, and who do you want to approach you?
Well, you know, on that part, you know, that's more Rick Glaser's field. He knows boxers. I don't really know boxing per se. You know, I don't know how to punch. I never had on a pair of gloves. So when I met Rick really brought me up to speed, because I've been helping a couple guys that didn't have a clue about boxing either, and they was fighting. So Rick really helps me with that part of it. My part is going to be the business part, you know, where I make sure that they have everything they need. As far as trainers, you know, I know how to go to the best guys in the world. One of my successes is that if I can't get the best guy in the world, I'm gonna get the next to the best. I just got lucky, and you know, and Rick Glaser happened to be sitting right in front of me, and I wound up with one of the smartest guys, if not the smartest guy in boxing. I think that Rick is right at the top of the ladder with people who are intelligent, and not just boxing. I mean, his knowledge is bigger than just boxing, and I've always made it a point to get the smartest people and the best people that I could find, and work my way from there. And that's what I did. I was working with a guy named Chris Lovejoy when he was really my first signee. We got him to 19-0. He got knocked out, I think, the first round of his first real fight. So I can definitely help fighters. And having my guy Rick Glaser on the side of me gives me the confidence that there's nothing that I can't do in this business.
Guys, I really appreciate your time. I wish you the very best of luck with the venture, of course. And yeah, let's do this again in a few months and see where we're at.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you both. Take care.